Hello, my name's Ammar Mirza, and I'm the very proud chair of the Business Growth Board at the North East LEP. This is session 3 of 3, looking to the future, and I'm delighted to be joined by
Colin, the Business Growth Director at the North East LEP.
Thanks, Colin. So, in the first 2 parts, what we talked about was the immediate response of the whole community and how we helped enable that response, because that's a key thing. That's the key role of the North East LEP, is to act as an enabler, to empower people and programs and everybody here to support one another. And part 2, we talked about a couple of specific programs just to illustrate the point. And those programs looked at the future as well as the here and now. And this part 3, we are absolutely looking to the future. So tell me, how do you feel about the future, Colin?
You know what, Ammar? I look to the future and I look to the North East with a massive amount of confidence. I think if you look at the trends that have really accelerated, that have really kind of been kind of brought forward from, by coronavirus and Brexit, as well, I think's in the mix there. The Northeast and our collective capabilities, we're in a great position to take advantage of those. The shift to electric vehicles, we're the #1 region, in the UK, but within Europe, to really take advantage of that. We're in a prime position around energy markets with offshore wind and subsea and offshore markets. We've got great capabilities there. In terms of the onshoring of pharmaceutical supply chains, again, we've got fantastic pharmaceutical manufacturing capability within the region, and also just in general healthcare markets. When you look at the strengths of the region and the big trends that are happening out there at the moment, we are in a prime position to really be at the forefront of those.
And I absolutely feel that and see that firsthand, Colin. Undoubtedly, don't get me wrong, right? We're not going to be sit here and be naive to the challenges that people have experienced and are experiencing, and the significant pain that people are suffering and businesses are experiencing. But in effect, what we've been able to do and what you've just illustrated there are some of what we describe as sector strengths. Now, people outside of those sectors would naturally and understandably say, well, what about me? I work in the leisure or the hospitality sector, or I work in, some of these sectors that haven't been mentioned. Where do I fit and sit? And a key and critical part for me to highlight is that actually it's every sector that brings the whole community together. People need to go out, people need to spend, people need to socialize. So the more and better jobs that we create enable people to do that. And by looking at opportunities and opportunity areas, it allows people to change direction in their career. It allows people to think innovatively and look at their whole personal ambitions in a different way. So the future is different. We were just talking about this earlier on when we were talking off air almost. We were talking about how people's behaviors, beliefs, people's approaches have changed. And yes, we don't know what that looks like from a stable and future point of view. But what we do know is people are more productive. People are able to do a lot more in shorter time frames. And because there's a lot more digital going on, there's a lot more opportunity. You don't have to travel, you don't have to literally think about getting from here to here. And that opportunity opens up and broadens the horizons for both people and businesses. So I think it's you're absolutely right, Colin. And in regards to the business growth team and the ambitions, what needle are we trying to push forward?
I think there's a couple of things there that I think that number one is just reflecting on what you've just said. I think that on a number of fronts, the coronavirus has actually, it's provided a bit of a jolt to the economy. So prior to the coronavirus pandemic, the country, it faced a productivity challenge. We weren't as productive as we need to be to increase living standards and all those sort of things. So actually the adoption of technology, I think we're seeing 4 years worth of technology adoption in a kind of compressed into a matter of months. That's given us a real kind of jolt. I think there's been other trends that, although realise there's a lot of pain within this change, but there's been an ongoing trend around how town centres are changing and things. That's been accelerated. And equally, the other thing that I think we're seeing at the moment is a bit of real upsurge in enterprise. So people starting businesses. So I think what we're trying to do is think, actually, well, let's reflect on what's happened over the past year, but how do we harness that? How do we really build on that and build on the momentum that's been created in some areas to genuinely deliver transformational levels of change? So around digital adoption, how do we really use that to continue to move people up the productivity continuum? Town centres, all those industries that you mentioned earlier, retail, tourism, culture, they're all part of the solution around that. And equally, as more people are starting businesses, we see that quite often in when there's an economic downturn or some sort of crisis. But how can we harness that so people continue to build those businesses into the future? So we've got more businesses and more wealth being created within the region.
Yeah, no, which is fabulous. And I think what we're seeing is the future is bright. And what we're going to continue to do is communicate, collaborate and celebrate, and just stealing the SMEs sort of catchphrase. We're going to continue to help organisations start, survive and thrive. And just finally, Colin, very, very briefly, the Growth Hub is the place to go, isn't it? Why is that?
Well, the Growth Hub's the place where any business can go to access the support that they require to survive, thrive, and revive. I think I got that in the wrong order there, Ammar. But there's a wealth of expertise. We've got a team of people who are there to spend time with businesses to understand them and really pinpoint the type of solutions that they can access to help them implement the plans and achieve their vision and goals. A lot of the support's free, it's kind of there, it's subsidized. So, it's there to support businesses. So what I would really, emphasize is that, take advantage of that, and use that resource to get behind your businesses and to kickstart them and make sure that you're gonna kind of come out of this bigger, better and stronger.
Absolutely. And ultimately create more and better jobs so that we support everybody in the North East from primary to prosperity.
Absolutely.
So you've been listening to Ammar and
Colin
on a 3-part series reflecting 1 year on thank you. And please do reach out to us through the Growth Hub and let us know how we may be able to assist you to start, survive and thrive.